We are delighted to welcome Ms. Soumya Nadig to the session of the podcast. Every child is unique. Ma'am is a special educator and counselor. Concentrates on child development and discovering the true potential of the child. She started off with a master's in computer science from Manipal University and started a career in computer science and then moved into a true passion, that is special education and counseling. She likes to curate programs for children that is individualized to discover their passion, the strength and their potential. That is her true strength. So today we'll be discovering and discussing about how we can help children, how to discover their passion and how to judge the true intelligence behind every child.
Yeah.
So ma'am, there is an adage, every child is unique.
Yes.
So is it just a saying or is there a truth behind it or is there a science behind it?
There is science behind that.
Okay.
So it is not just a saying. Because we see every child has different approach to everything in the life. Be it studying, be it their passions or their hobbies or whatever they do. They approach very differently. And their approach is dependent on many different aspects of their childhood. So if I take my own experience, I have twins. Okay, they were born same, almost 30 seconds apart. I have seen them grow together in the same environment, under the same parents. They went to the same school. They had the same teacher in the class.
Same class, same teacher.
Class, same teacher.
Oh.
Okay, both of them were taught by the same teacher. But end of it, what I observed is they grew up to be two different individuals.
Oh wow.
Unique individuals. See, they are twins. But their likes, their hobbies, their tastes
completely apart.
Completely different.
Oh.
I can say one of them is a visual child, the other is an auditory child. So I was amazed seeing the way the children grow up in the same environment. See, home is a very protective, conditioned environment.
Yes.
But when you check the school, there are many different types of kids. You can't compare each child with the another child.
Not possible, yes.
It is not at all possible to compare. So we say child is always unique.
Yes.
Every child has a unique strength. We cannot compare it with the other child. And science has proven that.
And when that is possible with the twin, why not with other children?
With the others?
So there are high chances.
Yes.
Lovely, ma'am. Yes. Yeah. That was truly an eye-opener, ma'am. So, do you believe in intelligence of the child? Is there a proper yardstick? Because some children are good in mathematics, some are good in sports, some are good in co-curriculars like art, pottery, music.
Yes.
How do we define true intelligence?
See, true intelligence is not measured only by one or two aspects of a person or a child.
Okay.
If you think of a child, you can consider the child's personality, how the socializing or how curious the child is,
okay,
how the child communicates, how the child has the problem solving skills, what are the different ways he approaches the problems. So all these aspects define the intelligence of the child. It is not just one academics.
Oh, it is not one.
No, we can never say academics is the only part that measures the intelligence. See, whenever we ask about a child, we should never ask a child, is your child intelligent? That's not the right question. We should always ask, what are the different ways your child is intelligent?
Oh wow.
So academic is only one aspect of the intelligence.
Got it.
There are multiple ways of understanding a child's growth. It is not just academics.
So it is multiple intelligence.
Multiple intelligence.
Okay.
So a child can have different ways of learning, different styles of learning. So it can be a visual learner, it can be auditory learner, it can be a kinesthetic learner.
Can be a hands-on learner.
Hands-on, yes. So it depends on how the stimulation has happened at the earlier age.
Got it.
So performance or the intelligence of the child Well, 90% depend on the early childhood support of the child.
It depends upon that.
Yes, early
Okay.
childhood.
So the
is
early
very
foundation is more important.
Yes, like a foundation is important for building a house or a building.
Similarly,
The early years, 0 to 8 years, is the foundation which is laid for the child, for the
Oh.
future.
nice.
That's
So a
very important.
combination of education methods
Yes.
is very helpful.
Very much, very much.
That was massive, ma'am. And schools sometimes concentrate only on education. So that is a wrong method. It should be multiple intelligence.
Yes, yes.
And sometimes we feel that a child who is not good in mathematics cannot be a good entrepreneur or a good engineer. Is there any substance to that?
See, I will tell you today's incident, the news that is going on internet today
Uh-huh.
about Pavan Kumar Chandana, the Skyrock Aerospace co-founder.
Okay.
Just today I read the message. In his school days, he used to score around 50, 51 in maths. And he has also failed in a subject. He has tweeted on today, he has scored less in maths. He has failed in a subject.
But he is a
But
creator.
yes, now
He is a researcher.
changes happened so suddenly. He started working hard and he got into IIT. He found a private aerospace company which was not there. Now the rocket Vikram 1 has reached the orbit. So
It is by him.
yes, by him, he is a co-founder.
Oh, wow.
So it doesn't matter how much you score in one subject or another subject.
It is irrelevant.
It is not, we don't say it is irrelevant, but it is not the main thing which will decide your future.
Okay.
The learning can happen at different stages. The interest can develop at different stages.
At your own pace.
Yes.
At your different
Yes,
pace.
every child learns at different pace. Like we see a newborn child, how would they achieve the milestones?
So you mean to say that a child may not be good in math,
Hmm.
but they may be logical or analytical
Yes,
thinkers.
yes,
They may be researchers.
yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
it has got no bearing to
No.
the
No,
basic math.
no. I can give you an example, say a simple example. Two students, one who's scoring very well in the class, who's very studious, whom everyone calls is very intelligent, and another student who's an average, scores around 60 to 65%. Suppose they were given a real scenario, a working washing machine, it was installed and that's not working. That scenario, both the students are given the task of identifying why it is not working. The student A, who is very studious, who scores very well, checks everything. What is wrong, everything. He identifies what is wrong. He calls the customer care and asks the serviceman to get it fixed. So that's our child A, who is very brilliant, scores well. Now the child B, he'll come, he'll check whatever the issues he is able to observe, understand. And he realizes there was a blockage in the inlet and he fixes it himself and the washing machine is working.
Wow.
So both solve the problem there. The studious student and every student, both of them
solve it in their own ways.
in their own way. See, our goal was to solve the problem, but the approach is different.
Different.
So the uniqueness is there. Every
Okay.
child thinks in a different way, unique way.
Oh,
So whom do you call intelligent here? Either the student A or student B.
both of them
Both
did a
of
great
them,
job.
yes. But why could the second child solve himself? Because the curiosity at early childhood has helped him learn on his own by observing things at home, probably with his father, with his friends or neighbors. He has tried hands-on experience on fixing something, be it a bulb, be it a tap, be it a stove, whatever, any fixing. He has done it with his friends or father. He has learnt it with hands-on
So
experience.
that helped him.
Yes, that added more value to his intelligence
Okay.
and he could solve it himself. He did not depend on others. Whereas the first one depended on the customer care and he got it solved
Solved.
through him.
Anyway, the problem has been
Problem
solved.
is solved.
So both of them are solution.
Yes, yes.
Good, excellent. And ma'am, can you tell me the role of early stimulation in a child's development? Number one.
Yes.
Number two is a standardized examination good for the children? Because that is what is happening, the NEET and JEE and the
Yes.
issues and the embargo.
Yes, yes,
So can you just elaborate on these two?
yes. Like I said, the early childhood development lays the foundation of a child. The early stimulation is very important part of the child's growth.
Okay.
It starts right from the birth. Birth to 1 year is called as infant stimulation.
Infant stimulation.
Yes,
Okay.
infant stimulation. Sorry, as we have seen, we have the experience of talking to a child. We move our hand, the child sees here and there, we make sounds, the rattle sounds, the child turns this. These are all the stimulation for visual, auditory. And if you remember, when you hold the child or you carry someone else's child, starts crying. Why? It recognizes your touch.
Okay.
That's a tactile stimulation which has happened with the touch of the mother or the father or the caretaker.
Okay.
So these stimulation activate the sensory organs in a child,
Okay.
which is very important for the child to develop holistically as he grows
Through the years.
through the years. So these sensory activations sends the information to the brain.
Okay.
The neural connections are formed. Everybody knows that neural connections make the brain more active, or it stores all the information in the brain. So these information which are stored in the brain region called hippocampus, which is a memory part of our brain. So as a child grows, say the motor activation, we have seen the child rolls, it moves, it crawls, it starts standing, walking, running. All these are motor stimulation from 0 to 5 years.
Okay.
Then the cognitive skills. You hold something in your hand, how would you get the grip of holding a cup?
How
That's-
much pressure to apply?
Yeah. You should be able to hold it firmly, not drop it down.
Correct.
So transferring it from one hand to the other, pulling some toy from others'
These are all
hand.
cognitive.
These are all cognitive skills which the child develops through 0 to 5 years.
Okay.
You have language. The infant makes sounds. It babbles. You should respond to that. It says ah, you also say ah. So that's a stimulation for language and
So
communication.
this converts to languages.
Yes, as
Okay.
the child grows, it is converted to language.
Okay. So it's the early language.
Yes, earlier. And socialization. We teach the child to say hi. We teach the child to shake hand. All these improve the social skills of the child.
Ah,
Then the self-help, say 1 year onwards. You teach the child to drink holding the cup by himself with a straw, with a small cup. You start teaching the child to depend on its own self, not on others. So this is self-help which has to be trained right from the 6 months.
Okay.
0 to 8 years, the self-help, socialization and motor skills, cognitive skills, all these are
important
developing.
till the age of 8.
Yes, till the age of 8, they're developing.
Okay.
Even after
So this
8,
is a
they
very
do develop.
Crucial time.
Very crucial time. If you are focusing on the child, the parental information, involvement, the exposure we give to the child in between those years, and the environment they grow up, everything play a very major role. The school comes later.
Okay.
Until then, the home is the school. I would say kitchen is the school.
Okay.
Everything starts at the kitchen and ends at the
In
kitchen.
the kitchen, yes.
That's my experience. I have realized after working with neurotypical and neurodiverse kids. Everything starts at kitchen. You can teach anything and everything in kitchen. So this 0 to 8 years, which lays the foundation, helps the child, to identify its interest, its passion,
Ah,
and how to go about their studies once they come to the grade 1, 2, 3.
okay.
So once they enter the school, they have to understand what is being taught. The grasping happens. So they need auditory skills. So they have already got the foundation of listening. They write. The motor skills help them write the notes.
Okay.
The self-help skills help them organize their work or the notes in a neat way. They keep, showing interest in whatever is being taught.
Okay.
That's how the child develops from infant to toddler to a higher grade. So
Adult, yes.
adult. So this is how they develop. This early stimulation is a important stage of every child.
Development, okay.
Yeah. So now once they come to the school, they have the exams. They start writing the exams. Here again, when they write the exam, the memory comes into picture. Students who have, the stimulation of understanding the concepts at early stage, have repeatedly done those activities, is registered in the memory, they can recall, retrieve the information and write it or put it in a very neat format when it comes to writing the examination. Up to a certain stage, it's fine. So I would say till 5th grade, more than exams, the hands-on experience matter.
Okay.
I would say the standardized exam shouldn't be, even the final exam, what we see is not important till grade 5.
Okay.
It should be a hands-on experience, an assessment based on their cognitive skills, their motor skills, their creative learning, their social, emotional well-being. These are to be considered until 5th standard. That is the foundation for the teenage and the adolescent age.
Okay.
But we know we have our education system where we have the board exams. They're all standardized exams, which again, is necessary for the different courses the child is interested in. That is an important part of our education system now. But even before that, what the educators at say primary level, higher primary should do is give them a stronger foundation to write these standardized exams.
So they get the hang of it.
Yes.
Okay.
So it should be laying a foundation to understand how to write the exam, how they improve their attention skills, how they improve the speed of writing, how they maintain the handwriting, and how they keep their emotions calm when they're writing the exams. See, that plays a very important role in writing the standardized
without
exam.
getting nervous and being
Yes.
calm.
Every child has anxiety now.
Exactly.
The moment they say exam, they're stressed.
Tensed. Yes.
And there are many other factors which affect their mind during the exams. Maybe sometimes they fall sick the previous day of the exam. So these standardized exams should not be the only thing to consider.
It should not be the only metric.
Yes, only metrics to consider this child is so and so. He even say probably the child did not do well in the 10th grade, but he got into a good college.
Yes.
He might do very well in that +2.
Yes.
He may get into engineering. He may get into a very good job. He may do his own business. So there are a lot of things which keep happening, which the changes do happen at different stages. This is something we should always consider, and educator's role becomes important in helping or guiding the child to face all these exams.
Okay.
As parents, see, my mentor would always say, child is the driver of his life. Right from birth, he's the driver. He's driving his own life.
Okay.
You don't drive his life.
Okay, let him do it.
Let him drive it.
Yes.
You teach him, guide him,
how to navigate.
support
That's
him.
it.
Yes.
Let him make
Yes.
the decisions. Okay.
Let them take the. We should involve these
It's a
children.
beautiful piece of information.
You should involve them. Yes, we should involve them in decision making right at a younger age, as early as 3 to 4 years.
That's lovely.
That makes them independent, which makes them confident to write the standardized exam. And when the result is out, even though they get a little lesser than what they expect,
They will not be so
they
disturbed.
will not be disappointed. They will say, it's okay, I have much more to do than this.
Yes, yes.
That is how they take
I
it, a
think
positive.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.
That was really wonderful, ma'am. The kind of information I got from you, it now makes me think that education is not a simple thing. Just you come to school, learn ABC or something.
Yes.
It is a very complex affair.
Yes.
Like at Redbridge, what I found is we do a hybrid education for the primary years, as you said, till the age of 8.
Okay.
We have a hybrid educational system wherein we combine Indian international with lot of hands-on activities, art, pottery, music, dance, robotics, computers.
Yes.
So I think somewhere down the line, we have somewhere inculcated these into the curriculum,
Right.
wherein children learn through hands-on.
Hands-on.
It's a curated curriculum. It's a wholesome curriculum. It's a great learning experience.
Yes.
And the exam starts from grade 4.
Okay.
We don't have exam system till grade 3.
Okay.
So I think we have really followed this unconsciously, or maybe it was
Yes.
done by design by my
Yes. Maybe the educator was,
the founder.
informed. Yes, the
we had
founder.
Mr. Brown as the founder educator.
Okay.
So maybe he has done it consciously.
Yes.
So it is hands off to him. And
Yes.
thank you all. Thanks so
Thank
much
you.
for coming and for
Thank you so
enlightening
much.
all of us.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
It was a blessing in disguise here.
Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
ma'am.